Girivaradhari Gopi Janavalabha Girivaradhari Yashodanandana Vraja Jana Ranjana Yashodanandana Vraja Jana Ranjana Yamuna Tira Vanachari Yamuna Tira Vanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Vishnupad Paramahamsa Parvakacharya Asatara Sata Srimad A.C. Bhaktivedanta Goswami Maharaj Prabhupada Ki Jai.
Jai.
Ventura Srimad Bhagavatam Ki Jai.
Jai.
Gaura Premanandi. All glories to the assembled devotees.
Hare Krishna.
All glories to the assembled devotees.
Hare Krishna.
All glories to the assembled devotees.
Hare Krishna.
All glories to Sri Sri Guru and Gauranga. All glories to Srila Prabhupada.
Hare Bol.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
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 Do I sound okay?
Yes.
Yeah.
Today I actually remembered to hit the record button, so we're off to a good start. So we're reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 4, Chapter 8, verse 34. Please repeat after me. Gunadikan mudang lipshed.
Gunadikan mudang lipshed.
Yeah, I mispronounced. Sorry. Kroshang Gunadamat
Kroshang Gunadamat
Maitrim Samanad Avichin
Maitrim Samanad Avichin
Nataptair Avibhuyate
Nataptair Avibhuyate.
Please chant.
Gunadikan mudang lipsed. Gunadikan mudang lipsed. Anukroshang gunadhamat.
Anukroshang gunadhamat.
Maitrim samanad anvichchain.
Maitrim samanad anvichchain.
Natapar abhibhuyate.
Natapar abhibhuyate. Gunadikan mudang lipsed.
Gunadikan
mudang lipsed.
Anukroshang gunadhamat.
Anukroshang gunadhamat.
Maitrim samanad anvichchain.
Maitrim samanad anvichchain.
Natapar abhibhuyate.
Natapar abhibhuyate. Gunadikan mudam lipsed.
Gunadikan mudang lipsed.
Anukrosham gunadamat.
Anukrosham gunadamat.
Maitrim samanad anvichchain.
Maitrim samanad anvichchain.
Natapar abhibhuyate.
Natapar abhibhuyate.
Gunadikan mudam lipsed.
Gunadikan mudam lipsed.
Anukroshang gunadamat.
Anukrosham gunadamat.
Maitrim samanad anvichchain.
Maitrim samanad anvichchain.
Natapar abhibhuyate.
Natapar abhibhuyate.
Okay, thank you. Guna Adikan, one who is more qualified.
Guna Adikat, one who is more qualified.
Mudam, pleasure.
Mudam, pleasure.
Mudam, pleasure.
Lipsate, one should feel.
Lipsate, one should feel.
Anukrosham, compassion.
Anukrosham, compassion.
Guna adamat, one who is less qualified.
Guna
adhamat, one who
is less qualified.
Maitrim, friendship.
Maitrim, friendship.
Samanat, with an equal.
Samanat, with an equal.
Avichet, one should desire.
Unvichet,
one should
desire.
Not. Taptahi, by tribulation.
By tribulation.
Abhibhuyate, becomes affected.
Abhibhuyate, becomes affected.
Okay, I'm going to mute, and I have the chat up and stuff like that, so if anything happens, you can just send it in the chat here. Okay. Lecture. By the way, I apologize, I just gave class on Saturday, and I don't like giving class one after the other, but that's just the way things turned out. But I did put a lot into this with the PowerPoint and everything. Actually, I've been working on this for like 2 weeks, on and off, you know. So I hope you like it. So here's the translation. Every man should act like this. When he meets a person more qualified than himself, he should be very pleased. When he meets someone less qualified than himself, he should be compassionate towards him. And when he meets someone equal to himself, he should make friendship with him. In this way, one is never affected by the threefold miseries of this material world. Report by Srila Prabhupada. Generally, when we find someone more qualified than ourselves, we become envious of him. When we find someone less qualified, we deride him. And when we find someone equal, we become very proud of our activities. These are the causes of all material tribulations. The great sage Narada therefore advised that a devotee should act perfectly. Instead of being envious of a more qualified man, one should be jolly to receive him. Instead of being oppressive to a less qualified man, one should be compassionate towards him, just to raise him to the proper standard. And when one meets an equal, instead of being proud of one's own activities before him, one should treat him as a friend. One should also have compassion for the people in general who are suffering due to forgetfulness of Krishna. These important functions will make one happy within this material world. Gunadikan mudang lipsade anukrosham gunadamat maitrim samanad avichen na taptair abhibhuyate. Every man should act like this. When he meets a person more qualified than himself, he should be very pleased. When he meets someone less qualified than himself, he should be compassionate towards him. And when he meets someone equal to himself, he should make friendship with him. In this way, one is never affected by the threefold miseries of this material world. I have 20 slides today, so we're on text 7. A lot of these will be verses. So, this verse says, Gunadikan mudam lit said. So, adi is to push, means pushing up. So, when you say adikan, is something, someone better, superior than ourselves. And then it says lipsate, which means one should feel. What should he feel? Mudan. Mudan is something really sweet like honey, delight, pleasure, jubilation when we see somebody else. What a difference from what, in our polluted state we feel. If we see somebody better than us, we become envious. We want to pull them down, criticize him, find fault. No, one should feel this. One should feel mudam, pleasure. And similarly, maitrim samanat avicchen. So icha means desire, ichet, and then we say anuichet, it means one should desire to make friendship with that person. And then anukrosham gunadamat. So gunadamat is somebody that's less than us, less fortunate than us, less advanced than us. Then we should feel anukrosham. So krosha is about 2 miles. It's a quarter of a yojana, which is about 8 miles, and it's the range of that you can hear a human voice if it's calling out or howling. That's called a krosha. So anukrosha is, by the way, I asked Sri Dayananda Maharaj just and he answered me right away. He explained this. So anukrosha is when somebody's repeatedly calling out in distress. So what happens if you hear somebody screaming, help, help? Automatically you feel compassion, unless you're so dull you wouldn't feel anything. But for most humans, they would feel immediate compassion for somebody howling. So when we see someone less fortunate than ourselves, we should feel anukrosham, compassionate towards that person. So where have we heard these instructions before? It's in the Upadeshamrita, text 5, Krishneti Yashagiri Tang Manasadriyeta, that texts 4 and 5. 4 is where it talks about how you can develop love by feeding others, by giving gifts and charity, and sharing our hearts with others. And then 5 is all about how to see different living entities on different levels, how to treat everyone properly. There is only 11 verses in the Upadeshamrita. These are the essence of all instructions for advancing a devotional service. And that text 5, Rupa Goswami is saying that we have to see the Lord everywhere. In other words, we cannot be envious or hateful of anyone, but at the same time we need to see what is their spiritual advancement, and according to the advancement of their consciousness, to treat them on a certain level. So where else have we heard this same instructions? That was in the 3rd canto. Lord Kapila, while explaining the principles of devotional service, he explained these things that we just went over recently, a few months ago. And then now, here in the 4th canto, we have examples of what Lord Kapila gave us, the principles of devotional service in the lives of Daksha, and now Narada's instructions to Dhruva Maharaj in chapter 29, which is called The Explanation of Devotional Service by Lord Kapila, in verse 17. This is what he says. Mahatang bahumanena. So if we come in contact with a Mahatma, then we should have bahumanena. Our mind should be, without reservations, give him complete respect. Dandavat, only in our mind, but actually falling flat before him. All respect should be given to a great soul. Mahatang bahumanena, and then maitya, jaivatma tulieshu. That means maitri. I don't have a diacritical mark, that's why I'm messing up. Maitreya. So anyway, friendship. If one sees someone unequal, he should have friendship. And dina namka anukampaya, that we should have compassion for those that are less fortunate. Same instructions. And if we do this, then what is the result? Nataptire abhibhuyate. We're free. We get relief from the material miseries. So how does this work? Here we go to the next slide. Just one second. Very nice. Kazita, very nice. So, how does this work? In How do we get relief from the material miseries and treat people properly by treating people properly? To get rid of the hatred, the malice that is within our heart. That malice, that envy, it springs from our original ignorance coming into this material world. It's the cause of all sufferings. In the Bhajana Rahasya of Bhaktivinoda Thakur, which is his own personal method of worship, he quotes from the Nyaya Sutras, and he gives us a map of the evolution of this original ignorance, how it comes. So he says, he quotes from the Nyaya Sutras, Maya Mugdasya Jivasya Geyo Nartas Chaturvidaha Hrid Daurbalyam Chaparado Shatrishna Tattva Vidbrahmaha. So, if you're looking at the chart here, there's 4 types of anarthas. Anarthas are what Srila Vyasadeva, from the beginning of Srimad Bhagavatam, warns us again. These are the things that are causing all miseries in this material world, are the cause of our bondage. There's 4 types of anarthas, and each of those anarthas has 4 classifications, so 16 divisions in all. So as you can see here, we have, starting from the top left, we have Tattva, Vidbrahma, Atsatrishna, and then Aparada, and then Hridar Valyam. So Tattva Vidbrahm, that means the illusion about our own spiritual identity. It's the misunderstanding of our own nature, what we are. And that will determine how we understand ourselves, will determine how we understand God, the goal and the practice. And then next is Asa Trishna, that is the desire for all kinds of material enjoyments, which are actually unwanted desires, keep us in this material world. Then there's Aparad, which impediments to our enjoyment. Because we have impediments, we develop an offensive attitude. And then the grossest manifestation is Hrid Darbalya, which is weakness of the heart, or our inability to extricate us from this material world because we cannot find the strength to perform sadhana, perform devotional service. And then Bhaktivinoda Thakur warns us that until we can give up these anarthas, the creeper of devotion will not grow. It will never grow. That's the statement that he makes. So if you're following along here, go to the next slide. I'd like to go through each one of these, starting from Tattva Vidbrahma, all the way down to Hrit Dharbalyam, the most gross manifestation of our ignorance. So this is the evolution. The first one, Tattva Vidbrahma. This is our bewilderment about what is the truth. So he says, Bhaktivinoda Thakur, Swatattve Paratatve Cha Sadhya Sadhana Tattvayoho Vid Rodhi Nishaya Chaiva Tattva Vidbrahma Chaturvidaha. So, Tattva Vidbrahma, our bewilderment of what is the truth. Starting from Swatattva Brahm. So, Swatattva, that means our own identity. We have a conception that we are the false self, that we are this body and everything that is around it. So from Swatattva Brahma, if we can't even understand ourselves, what hope do we have to understand God, who is Paratattva Brahma? Paratattva Brahma is a misunderstanding of what is God. There's so many conceptions, just like, he's an old man in the cloud with who's judging us in his big books, marking good, bad, good, bad. There's a nice lecture Hridayananda Maharaj gave some years ago, talking about this. Actually, I looked this up in the dictionary. It's revealed in the word God. God is a kind of universal word for the Supreme Being, and it comes from the Proto-German word Gut, which comes originally from Indo-European language, from the Sanskrit word Huta. So anyone that knows that does fire sacrifice, Hutam is what you're offering into the fire, and Huta is the recipient. So it's another name for Indra. So this is where it comes from, out in the clouds, people playing harps and all that. Their conception of God, of heaven in the clouds. So it's a very poor elementary understanding of what is God. And people have this real strange conception about the problem of evil, that if God is all powerful, how can he be all loving? And if he's all loving, then how come there's evil in the world? As if this world is meant for our enjoyment. It's just like if somebody is in the jail, all the criminals their conclusion is that the government is evil, because if they're all powerful, how come we're not enjoying? Why isn't it like Las Vegas here in the prison? Well, it's because it's a prison, guys. That's why. So the real conception of God can start from the Lord's authorized name, that of Vishnu, for instance. What does Vishnu mean? Vishnu means one who is everyone, everywhere. He's in everyone's heart, and he's all-pervading. And we can see this in the very first verse of the Chaturshloki Bhagavad Gita, the nutshell verses of the Bhagavad Gita. Krishna says, Aham sarvasya prabhava, means that I am the source of everything, and then mata sarvam pravartate, that everything emanates from me, so therefore everything in fact is me. And this comes to the next designation. Whoops! I'm not on the right slide. I'm sorry. I have to go back. I'm on the wrong slide. Go back. Oops. This is where I'm at. This is about Tattva Vibram. I didn't notice. So if we don't know who we are, if we don't know God is, then we cannot know sadhya, sadhana. Sadhya, Brahm. We have a false understanding of what is a practice and what is a goal. We don't understand what the soul is and what God is, and how can we possibly understand what the true practice is and even what the goal is. The goal comes from Sambandha Gyan, knowing what our relationship is, and that has to be consistent with what our practice is, what the soul is and what God is. And this we can see even in the philosophy of Dvaitavad by Madhvacharya. Even though Madhvacharya, we are in his line, there's a completely different understanding of what is the goal and what is the practice, how to achieve the goal. For instance, in Gaudiya Vaishnava philosophy, we have the concept that the Lord is both nimitta karana and upadana karana. Nimitta means he created the world, and then upadana karana means that the world is him, that it's not different from him because it's his energy. So therefore the Lord, we can see him everywhere, in everyone, in everything. Whereas the Madhvites, being followers of Madhvacharya, his mission was to challenge Mayavad philosophy. So Dvaitavad does not recognize upadana karan, that the Lord is within the material world, that matter is categorically different from the Lord. The Lord is all spirit, and matter is separate from him. There's truth there, but Achincha Beda Beda Tattva of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu propounds that in one sense the Lord is also this material world because it's part of his energy and he's non-different from it. And because of this slight difference of understanding of what the truth is, then there's a completely different mood. The Madhvites are very feisty. They fight with everybody, just as Madhvacharya was, in order to combat Mayavad philosophy, whereas the mood of Gaudiya Vaishnavism, following in the footsteps of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, is stressing humility. Trinadapi suni chena, just like the grass, just like a tree. And the same with the goal. The goal of the Madhvites is not prema, it's actually moksha. That's the highest they go. So you see, from this one little difference of understanding what we are and what the Lord is, then it gives a completely different view of what the sadhana and what the sadhya should be. Oh, how did this happen? Jesus, I don't know why this thing is going to the wrong slides. Anyway, sorry, Prabhus. All right, let's go to the next slide. The Sri Sampradaya, they also have the same conception. What is a soul? What is God? What's a sadhya and the sadhana? And then also this, Viroda Vishaya. So this comes to the next one, which is the last portion. Actually, I have to go back to the previous slide. I'm sorry. I've got too many things going on here. I got like 4 screens in front of me, so it's hard to manage it all. Okay, back to the previous slide. Okay, we're still on this one here. So, how is this going back? There you go. Okay, subjects unfavorable to devotional service. So this is called, back to my notes, yes, Viroda Vishaya Vidbrahma. So Vishaya means material enjoyment. It also can mean poison. And Viroda is destroying. So Viroda Vishaya Brahm is when we don't understand what we need to avoid in devotional service that will give us an unfavorable result. And this comes in to the next slide. Now I'm on the right slide. This is called Asat Trishna, material desires. So material desires, Bhaktivinoda Thakur says, Ahik Shesh Vaishana Para Trikeshu Chaishana Shubha Bhutavancha Mumuksha Cha Kyasat Trishna Chatur Vida. So what this means is Aihish Kesh Vaishana is material desires, specifically in this world, eating, sleeping, mating, defending, basically. And then he says Para Triheshu Chaishana Shubha. In other words, even beyond that, heavenly enjoyments that we want, and then Bhutavacha, which means mystic powers, and Mumuksha, liberation. So if we don't know what the goal is, we don't know how to perform, we don't know God or ourselves are, then naturally we're going to have the desire for material enjoyment. And then, next slide, what does that produces? It produces aparads. These are impediments to, because we have impediments to our enjoyments, naturally aparads come about. So he says, Krishna Nama Sarupeshu Tadiyaya Chit Kaneshu Cha Geya Buddha Ganayar Nityam Aparadash Chaturvidaha. So we have, first of all, Krishna Nam. We make offenses to Krishna's holy name. Sarupeshu, to the form of the Lord, to the deity. And then Tadiya, the paraphernalia of the Lord, which are his devotees. And then Geya Buddha Ganayar Nityam. Ganayar is just the people in general. So not only the devotees, but just people in general, we have to offer them respects. But if we see them as impediments to our enjoyment, then we create all kinds of offenses. And then what happens if we create offenses? The next grossest manifestation is Hrid Darvalyam, weaknesses of the heart. So there he says, Bhaktivinoda Thakur says, Tuch Cha Shakti Kutinati Mat Saryam Sva Pratishtata Swadar Balyam, Budair Shashvaj, Gayam Kila Chaturvidam. So the first one is Tucha Shakti, which means attachments to objects that are not related to Krishna. These are insignificant, nonsense things that we are so attached to, we just can't give up because we don't have the spiritual strength. The Hridarabalyam, the weakness of the heart. You know what we're especially attached to? Is that somebody insults us. Somebody crushes our pride, then we cannot forgive him. Up to the moment of death, we remember this. That's what we're attached to. So, tucha shakti, insignificant things, or some sort of position, nonsense position, or something like that. Insignificant things that we're attached to. And then kutinati. Kutinati means deceitfulness or fault-finding. So we hide maybe sinful habits that we still are harboring within our hearts, even our activities. And then matsaryam, that means enviousness or hatred towards anyone or anything. So this is the greatest exhibition of our envy, and that is pratishta or pride, swapratishtata, the desire for fame. That I'm the best singer or the cook, or I have more money. So polluting that I'm better than others, and therefore we hate anyone who comes in our way. So this is the evolution of it. Starts from tattva vidbram to asat trishna, desire for material things, creating aparadhas, and then lastly hridarabalyam. So we just don't have the ability to advance in devotional service. So in the Bhakti Sandarbha of Srila Jiva Goswami, he illustrates, as I mentioned before, from chapter 29 of the third canto, Lord Kapila Dev's instructions, that he instructed us about this in those chapters, about avoiding the disease of envy, how to perform devotional service, and how to respect all living entities. So illustrating this in the Anucheda 106 of the Bhakti Sandarbha, text 74 and 75, he quotes from the Agni Purana, the history of Shravan Kumar. We know this from the Ramayana. There's a history of how Dasarath was hunting in the forest, and he had a mantra he could chant so that he could shoot his arrow, and wherever he would hear the sound, he wouldn't even need to see the target. He would simply chant the mantra and then would go towards the target, and without fail it would kill whoever gave the sound. So he was a little tired, he was in the forest, and he heard at the somewhere off in the distance like gurgling. It sounded like an animal was drinking water very loudly. So he chanted the mantra, he shot his arrow, and then as soon as it struck the target, to his horror, it was a human voice. So he ran towards it to see what had happened, and there he saw this little boy dying. And he was aghast at what had happened. He had this, what do they call gourd? I think gourd, whatever it is, that type of vegetable that you can make pots out of, and when you put it in the water, it goes like that. So he thought it was an animal, and it was just this boy taking water from the river. So the boy was so saintly. He said, "I don't mind that you're killing me, but please take care of my blind parents. They're living alone in the woods, and I'm their only shelter." So Dasarath was completely devastated. So he had to take this dead body of the boy that he'd just killed and take it to the hermitage of his blind parents. The mother and father are blind, and this is their only son who's taking care of them. So initially, when Dasarath entered, the mother and father were so happy to hear their son had arrived, and the father was saying, "Oh, Shravan Kumar, you've come. Why were you taking so long?" And then Dasarath, he had to place the body of the dead child on the lap of his father, and he said that, "I'm so sorry, but I, King Dasarath, have accidentally killed your son." So after that, the father of Shravan Kumar was just lamenting like anything. And he was saying, why has this happened? So in order to illustrate our mistake, our ignorance, and how it can entangle us in this material world, Jiva Goswami, he quotes in his Bhakti Sandarbha this verse from the Agni Purana. So it goes like this, as you can see here. I'm on the right slide, yes. So he says, you see at the bottom, it says, Yena karma vipakyena putra shoka mamedrisham. We've heard several times, Hanuman Vijay Swami and others, how they say you read Sanskrit backwards to understand the meaning of the verse many times. So if we go to the last line, it says, Yena karma vipakyena putra shokam mamedrisham. So he's trying to figure out why has this happened to me? He calls it a karma vipakena. This terrible karma has fallen on my head, that a putra shoka, that I've lost that mamedrisham, that dear one to my heart, my very own son, that I've lost him. How could this possibly have happened? And then he gives two reasons. So he says, maybe it was this. He says that Shila Buddhi Krita Kingba Pratimayam Harir Maya. So maybe I was covered by the illusory energy in some or other. Shila Buddhi, I saw the deity of the Lord, but I couldn't see it as the Lord. Pratimayam Harir. I couldn't see the Lord, and I just saw stone. Maybe that's what it was. It was such a great offense to see the deity of the Lord and just think he's stone. Maybe that's what it was. Or he says, King Maya Pati Drishaya Vishnu Bhaktasya Karichit. So Karichit means maybe once King Maya Pati, that's like he's on the path, like on the road, and maybe he saw Vishnu Bhakta on the road. Of course he's blind, but maybe on the road Vishnu Bhakta was passing by, and Tan Mudra Kita Dehasya Chetasa Nadara Krita. So Tan Mudran Kita Dehasya means that his body was decorated with all the markings of a Vaishnava, every indication that he was a Vaishnava, but Chetasa Nadara, that somehow or other I did not offer respect in my mind. So you imagine if we meet a Vaishnava and then we argue with them. Sometimes devotees even get in physical fights. So can you imagine what our destination is? If he's saying that, I lost my dear one, it's such a devastating thing happened to this father of Shravan Kumar, and he's thinking that the only thing could have happened is maybe I saw the deity and saw it as stone, or maybe I didn't give proper respect to a Vaishnava. So this illustrates how careful we have to be, especially in the association of devotees. So let's go to the next slide. And then Jiva Goswami, in that same section of the Bhakti Sandarbha, he quotes from the Mahabharata, he gives the cure for this type of a situation. If we're bound, shackled by enviousness, this is the way out. He quotes from the Mahabharata and he says, Piteva putra karano nodvijaya yojana Vishnu Vishudasya Krishikesh Tasya Turnam Prasidati. I hope I'm pronouncing that correctly. So anyway, you will very soon get the mercy of the Lord. This is how Mahabharata instructs us. Vishudasya Hrishikeshas Tasya Turnam Prasidati. You will get his mercy and become purified if you do two things. He says, No Dvijaya yojanaha. That means just people in general. When you see them, dvejayati, that means you're envious, you're hateful, you cause people harm. That's basically what it means. So no dvejayati. That means if you're just friendly, if we don't cause other people harm, then we'll get the mercy of the Lord. At least that much, as so-called Vaishnavas, we have to do in that mentality that we should not harm anyone. And then it says, pitreva putaro karuno. So karunam, of course, means compassion. And then he says, what kind of compassion? Pitreva. That means you should be just like a father has compassion towards his putra, towards his son. So how is it that a father takes care of his children, of his sons and his daughters? He maintains them, but specifically what he does is he feeds them. So this we'll reveal in the next slides. So again, this is from chapter 29 of the third canto, Lord Kapila Dev's instructions on devotional service. He says, starting from text 25, performing his prescribed duties, one should worship the deity of the Supreme Personality of Godhead until one realizes my presence in his own heart and the hearts of other living beings as well. So the Sanskrit, as you can see there, it says, Archabad Barchayetava Ishvaramam Sarva Karma Krit. So one should begin with doing deity worship, which is a real shock, because just before this, we were discussing before, Lord Kapila Dev, he's saying that if you don't worship, if you try and worship the Lord, if you try and worship the deity, and you don't have respect for other living entities, you don't see the me in every living entity, then all of your activities, all your endeavor for so-called deity worship is useless. Your devotional service is useless. You're never going to get anywhere if you are envious of other living entities. So when we hear this, that it's just like pouring ashes on, or rather, ghee on ashes. If we hear this, you might think that then what's the use of trying deity worship? What's the use of even trying? But that's not the proper understanding. What he says is, beginning from deity worship, archadav archayed tava ishvaramam sarva karma krit. Until you see me in everyone's heart, you should begin with deity worship and perform your prescribed duties. Try and see me everywhere in everyone's heart, and then perform your prescribed duties, which is called swakarma krit. So, what this means is that we should not be too much in a hurry to think of ourselves as being liberated, as being Paramahamsas. There's that verse in the 11th canto of the Srimad Bhagavatam, Devarshi Bhutapta Nrinam, Pitrinam, Nakinkaro, all these different grades of living entities, the demigods and all the animals and our fathers and mothers, and we don't have any duties towards any of them because we've taken complete shelter of the Lord. So we may not be on that platform yet, especially if we find that we still have envy within our hearts towards all living entities. We don't actually see the Lord. So until we can see the Lord, because that's what he says in this verse, he says, Tavad, up to what time do you do the deity worship and try and see the Lord? Until you actually, I'm actually revealed to you. So this is what Swakarmakrit is. One way you can look at it is it's Vaidhi Bhakti, or the practice of devotional service, to see the Lord in all living beings. And Swakarmakrit is the supportive culture of devotional service, which Srila Prabhupada, in that purport to this verse 25, he says that this is Varnashram, that it's a supportive culture, and as will be revealed in the next 3 verses, that one of those things, it means to give people respect, especially beginning with our elders, or those that are more advanced than us. that if you do this, then you'll become gentle, you learn respect to elders, and give compassion to those that are junior. In other words, you take care of them. And specifically, in the next verse, verse 26, he explains what that means. He says, 26, Atmanascha parushyapi yakarot yantarodaram tasya bina drisho mrityur vivade bhayam udbanam. So what vivade bhayam udbanam means is that he will come as fearful death, mrityur, for anyone who tasya bina drisho, who sees like this, who sees himself separate from others. And he's very specific here. He says, Atmanas cha parashyapi yakarot yanu todaram. So if we see ourselves separate from another person, he specifically says udaram. Udaram means what? It means stomach. If we see somebody's hunger as different from our own hunger, then he comes as terrible death. This is what Lord Kapila Dev said. He comes as terrible death and destroys us. So what this means is that the minimum we should understand about Veda culture is that there's a supportive culture, swakrit, that comes along with it. Direct culture of devotion is hearing, chanting, remembering, etc., the lens of bhakti. But even before that, we should understand what the supportive culture is. And that is that as long as our hearts are not clean, in other words, if we envy, if we have hatred towards anyone, we should learn this at least. First, cultivate this along with the angas of bhakti, that we should respect and we should feed others. And then we go to verse 27. We're on slide 17 right now, so we're getting there. He says, therefore, through charitable gifts and attention, as well as through friendly behavior, and by viewing all as alike, one should propitiate me who abide in all creatures as their very self. So, Ata mang sarva bhuteshu bhutatmanam kitalayam, that I am situated within the heart, within everything and everyone. Arye dana mana byam. So this is very important. And then maitra dine nena chakshusha. You have a friendly attitude towards other, and then dana mana byam. Dana is to give in charity, and dana is to give in charity, and mana byam is to respect everyone. We should have this kind of attitude. In the Yoga Sutras of Patanjali, he mentions 5 sources of suffering of this world. Avidya, asmita, which is false identity of the self, abhiveshata, which is anxiety, and then raga and dvesha. Raga, dvesha is the cause of all of our miseries. So in this verse, what Lord Kapila Dev is saying is, in order to get rid of our raga, our attachment, what's our basic attachment in this world? What's the thing that we enjoy the most in this world? Of course, it's many times it says sex is the highest enjoyment, but actually that's a fleeting thing that's very difficult to attain. So what is that moment of enjoyment? What we enjoy is eating. Eating is what the biggest enjoyment in this world. So what Lord Kapila Dev says is that to get rid of raga and dvesha, to get rid of raga, attachment, is that we need to, before we feed ourselves, we have to feed others. And we all have that experience. that if there's like a feast or something, instead of sitting down and waiting to be served, if we actually pick up the pot and go around and serve others, we feel more satisfaction than if we would have ate ourselves. It's actually amazing. So in Vedic culture, what's stressed is that we should feed everyone. The householder should go outside before he takes his meal, invite anyone that's hungry to come. That's very much emphasized in Vedic culture, is how to feed people. So in this way, if we feed others, considering others' hunger before our own hunger, that is part of the culture, the Vedic culture. And that way we temper our raga. So to get rid of raga and dvesha means hatred, we have to respect everyone. So just like a little recap, in the third canto, this verse 29, what had happened is at the beginning of the chapter, Mother Devahuti asked Kapila about specifically to describe the yoga that would get everyone out of material entanglement, using herself. Tell me what I can do to get out of material entanglement. And then Lord Kapila starts to explain how to perform archana by seeing me simultaneously in the hearts of all living entities, and therefore to respect all. And he warned us if we remain envious of others, it's just like offering ghee into ashes. It's useless, but rather we should treat everyone with respect, but still according to their level of consciousness. If they're elevated in their God consciousness, then we should treat them as the best. So we have those that are less than us, those that are equal, and those that are better, and even those that are best. He starts from explaining inanimate objects like stones, if you remember that, all the way up to the brahmanas and then the pure devotees of the Lord. So there's different gradations of respect. Everyone should get respect, but there's, according to the development of their consciousness, or in other words, the depth of their understanding of God, they should be given respect accordingly. And if we come in contact with a saint, then we should know that is our worshipable deity, and we should not even think about offending such a person. So in closing here, because it's almost out of time, so how is it possible to see the Lord everywhere in our stage? We can't actually see the Lord because of our contamination, but we should practice by remembering the Lord is in everyone's heart, and the Lord is everywhere. And if we do that, then that's a sign of our faith. If we don't respect anyone, then that shows that we are faithless atheists. So therefore, we should not look down on anyone or anything. God is everywhere. So in closing, this is my... let's go to the next slide. Okay, so I'm going to read the verse again. 3 more verses ago. So again, the verse is Gunadikang Mudang Lapsade Anukrosham Gunadamat Maitrang Samanad Avichchen Nataptire Avibuyate. And the translation again is, every man should act like this. When he meets a person more qualified than himself, he should be very pleased. When he meets someone less qualified than himself, he should be compassionate towards him. And when he meets someone equal to himself, he should make friendship with him. In this way, one is never affected by the threefold miseries of this material world. So I have one last slide, and this, my good wife sent to me last night, and it had me in tears. Of course, it doesn't take much for me to go into tears because I'm a sentimental person with a Sudra nature, but I think anybody would go in tears if they have a soft heart by seeing this. I'm going to show you this next slide. It's a video, and it should work. I hope this works. So this is a video of a drunk bum who came into a church meeting, and it shows us that how we should treat others, that we never know who a particular person is. We just know that everyone is a part and parcel of the Lord, and we should see like that. When we meet somebody for the first time, doesn't matter, even if he doesn't have the markings of a Vaishnava, if he's a karmi, we shouldn't jump to conclusions about who this person is. We should offer respects, obeisances to everyone, at least within our mind, knowing his connection to the Lord before we jump into conclusions and just disregard him. So I'm going to hope that this works. So here we go. This lasts for about 5 minutes, but please lend your attention to it. I think that you'll get something out of it like I did. So just one second. I don't know what's happening. How come my thing is not unmuting? Oh, I know, because I muted everybody. That's why. I got to go out of the lecture mode, so hold on just one second. I got to do a little trick here. Let's see. So please keep yourself muted while I do this. That's why the sound didn't come.
One thing, Ramananda, you don't see subtitles there, and it says here that he came to the church and asked to sing, so, because it's otherwise you're not going to understand.
Oh, okay. Anyway, it's very nice. Okay. Because it's in Spanish, right? Spanish. Yeah, there's a few devotees here that know Spanish, so you'll get more out of this than me. But anyway, here it goes. Okay. I still can't do it. How come? I so much wanted to get this, but it's not letting me unmute. Why? Too bad. All right, I'll tell you what. Why don't we just open this up for questions while I'm trying to figure out what in the world. Oh, let's see. Host has muted the conference. Okay, now can I do that? Now I got it. Here it is.
A dona Teresa e a dona Rosa, no Santo Visito, são parentes do irmão José Cabelo, eu cumprimentei ela, só para uma promoção. Ali, Deus abençoe. Ó. Tá? Ô, João, deixa o Chico subir aqui. Deixa o Chico subir aqui. Por aqui. Tá, sobe aqui então, Chico. Sobe aqui. Vem cá, tá bom pra mim. Pelo amor, não lhe faço fiasco. Você me diz primeiro assim, ó. Vai dormir quando tiver sono nós conversamos. Só uma pergunta, mas que música vai cantar, homem?
Milionário, ele é rico.
Mas você acha que você é bailão, homem? Não tem uma musiquinha legal?
Eu queria você.
Só tá pra chamar um barco? Olha aí, tá falando, né?
Não. O que é? Toda vez que eu viajar, olha a música. É tudo chicãozinho. Vem com forte que passou. Glória, já vida dos feitos. Mas com voz me acalmou. Aleluia! Água na súria canta subir. Eu te canto em defeito. Água na súria canta subir. E o teu corpo altíssimo. E não há nem volta. Se te passa diante da tua voz, e não há doença, nem culpa, que fiquem de Senhor, o Senhor que vai ser exaltado, Senhor, porque tu és minha rocha, meu Senhor. Lamassuria na terra, e lamassuria numa boa mais. E não há negócio, e nem força, se te pensem diante da tua voz. E não há doença, nem culpa, que fiquem de terra de nós, e a tempestade que se acalma, na voz daquele filho do Senhor, como exclamada, ela é pura, é tudo para os que
Okay, so that's it. I've unmuted everybody. I hope that came through on your end and you liked everything you saw. Any questions or comments?
Well, one thing is, at least for me, the video, maybe it's my computer, but the video didn't come through at all very well. It was just frozen frame after frozen frame. And, well, I guess then it's my system. But if you wouldn't mind maybe later sending me if there was another way to watch it. So I can tell there's a lot of emotion going on. But, yeah, anyway, if you wouldn't mind being able to do that, if there was some way I could access that. But thank you for a wonderful class. My goodness, you really went into so much detail and wow. Thank you.
I got confused. So in the video, I saw the video fairly well. The sound was difficult. I thought maybe I'd pick up some of the Spanish, but the sound wasn't a little muddly. But I was able to see the video quite well. I got confused. So this guy, the drunk, was he really drunk, or was he kind of playing that, and then was he just playing drunk, and then was actually sober, and had this plan to show that even someone in that condition could have great, strong emotional feelings and attachment to God? I just kind of got confused.
Yugla Rasa, you sent it. What issues from?
Well, I know exactly how much you know because just a video was. But whatever way, if he tricked the public or he, you know, he was really drunk and he became sober when he started singing. So one or another.
Okay, so it wasn't clear to you either. In any case, it certainly made a wonderful point that we can't prejudge someone. We really don't know what's in their hearts.
No, he's a pastor, and he was.
That's what I thought. I thought it said that was Pastor so and so, which made me think. Only when I saw that he was pretending to be drunk.
Yes, because it's very powerful, because we have preconceived ideas when we come in contact with them, and we don't respect others. We think that we're better than others, and we shouldn't do that. We should give respect to everyone. So it floored people. It put them in such a state of mind that, you saw the emotions that were there. And then one of the reasons I put this video up was because, these are our Christian brothers and sisters. We shouldn't think that because we're Christian devotees, we are guided. Thank goodness. Thank God we are guided by our disciplic succession, our acharyas. We are so fortunate. But it's not that others are not also trying to find God in their own way. So we should give them proper respect. They're also our brothers and sisters. But it doesn't mean that we treat everyone the same. Of course, there are gradations according to the God consciousness that they've developed. We give them either respect in the mind, or friendship, or all respect for great souls. So, gradations.
That was good. I got a lot out of the video. So I would think now, as we're talking more on it, I would think that the pastor who was conducting the service must have also been in on this. That apparent drunk wasn't a drunk. It was just something that they were like a lesson for those in attendance at that service. But a good lesson. There's a nice verse in the Chaitanya Charitamrita, Janya Chitti Krishna Prem Kore Udoi Tannavaka Kriyam Mudafrigeya Nabuchoy, that even by someone's actions and activities and sometimes even their words, you cannot know how advanced they really are. You can't know in their heart. You can't always know. I mean, generally, you'll know, but better always err on the side of caution, because sometimes
I'm sorry about that. I got the video. I was going to put it in the chat. Sorry.
It's like Rishab Dev.
Rishab Dev. Very good. That's very good.
Crazy. Nobody. But actually, he was so advanced. You can never tell.
Yeah, thank you, Pandita. That's a very good example. Lord Rishab Dev.
Jada Bharat.
In Jad Bharat. Yeah. Jad Bharat, yeah.
Ranchi Dave, right? He was trying to end his fast, and people came disguised as dogs or whatever, and they were demigods.
Oh, very good point, yeah. Or Lord Nityananda, Avaduta. I think I explained before, Ava means above, and Duta means to take bath, regulations. So somebody doesn't take bath. Or in other words, who doesn't follow the rules and regulations. So externally, you can't tell an Avadut. You can't tell from the external signs. But so we have to be very careful. Can I just give one quick thing? Once I was walking in Hilo, and there was a bum pushing a cart. And as I was walking, I didn't pay attention to him, homeless person. And then as I was walking away, because I didn't give him any respect, he said, "Hare Krishna, maggot." Lord, I couldn't believe it. And I felt so ashamed of myself. You know, because I just saw superficially the outward dress. So you have to be very careful.
Once I was... Can you hear me, Ramananda?
Yeah.
I think this was maybe the best class I've heard you give so far. I do have a question, but you just reminded me of... I'm walking down 13th Avenue. It's a main artery in San Jose, California. And this hippie walks by me, and I'm just going to the pharmacy for something, and I was in devotional clothes. And he takes a look at me, and he just drops his head, and he just kind of like nods back and forth, like, you know, this guy's he's snowed under or something. And I stop this guy, and I say, what have you experienced in this life that I haven't experienced? Can you tell me? You know, what? Why would somebody, you know, automatically assume, you know, the superior position on somebody? It's common. Anyway, I have a question. You said that Bhaktivinoda said...
I was going to say that I have the same thing. I make the mistake all the time. Yeah, you just prejudge people, and boy, you just afterwards just regret how I could be so stupid to do that. But anyway, sorry.
Right. Yeah. No, it's a common thing to think you're superior to somebody, and then you don't know anything about them. You don't know their story. You don't know anything. And then, you know, that was part of what made it powerful. That I wish I knew Spanish. That some of the things he said to the pastor that allowed him to sing were funny, and everybody was laughing. I wish I could have followed. They might have been nice to subtitle that too, but it was really a good video, and it got a response. It got a really, really good response. So, Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur, he says that the devotional creeper will not grow with anarthas present. And also, I was fascinated early on. Where are you getting this? I mean, you spent a lot of time. Yeah.
Yeah, that's from the Bhajana Rahasya. You can look it up. The verses. It's in the second, I don't know what we call it, prayers, second section, starting with verse 8. He goes through these different anarthas, 16 in all.
Nice. Okay. And it's interesting, there's one verse that you mentioned that Kapila Dev says that if you're worshipping the deity but you can't appreciate the Lord in the heart of others, it's useless, but it's also the cure. That you worship the deity until you realize the Lord in your own heart. And yeah, that's interesting.
Yeah, because he says how useless it is, and then immediately the next verse is, so you should begin with deity worship and see me in everyone's heart.
until you get that.
Yeah.
Until you understand that. Yeah, that's really good.
Ramananda, it was Bhaktivinoda Thakur who said, or what is a verse was, I'm sorry I forgot, where you said that we should not see, we should see another people equal, not separate from us. What is that called?
Well, I've said that in many of those verses, but I think specifically Lord Kapila Dev's instructions. Let me go back. Let's see. Well, this one is really good. the first one, Sarvabhuteshu Avastita. Yeah. Yana Veda Swafridi. Is that what you mean? This one?
No, when we see actually another people separate from us, which the meaning is probably, I'm just trying to elaborate.
Yeah, Tasya Bina Drisho Mrityur. You see Bina is separate, so Tasya Bina Drisho, if you see separate, then I come as Mrityu, as death. Is that the one you mean?
Yeah, then you see another people separate from you. It means you don't feel their pain,
right,
or their happiness as your own. You know?
That's correct. That's correct. Yeah, Yakaroti Antodaram. Yeah, 26th chapter. Explanation of devotional service.
I just wondered.
This is quoted in the. All these verses are quoted in the Bhakti Sandarbha.
Yeah, because then we like atheists, because we don't see Lord in another's heart, we don't feel pain of another people. And, yeah. Thank you.
Yeah, this is how devotional service has to begin.
Yeah, imagine we have to become human beings first.
Yeah, and then we think that we're Paramahamsas. We think we are so advanced, and we're envious of others. It's like we haven't even started yet.
Yeah.
Okay, so if there's nothing else...
There's something in the chat.
Oh yeah, Bhagavad Gita, we're instructed to see all living entities the same no matter what their bodies. Yes, that's true. Yeah, we should be human beings first, for sure. Okay, so thank you, Prabhus. Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai. Srila Prabhupada ki jai.
Thank you. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.